Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nemeka Onyeka Oderiri. I saw the cheeky demand by the Nigerian Labour Congress and the other labor union groups in Nigeria, making a demand for a minimum wage of 650,000 naira a month, and then making it giving ultimatum to the federal government till the end of May to accept. I find it very, very funny. I find it very, very ridiculous, such demand, and I will explain. You see, there's one thing we've always talked about. A productive nation pays living wage. An unproductive nation, an unproductive enterprise pay monkey wages. And these are facts. You cannot plant cocoyam and you want to eat cucumber, or you plant cucumber, you want to eat yam. Nigerian Labour Congress is part. See, let me tell you, the civil servants in Nigeria, just like a majority of us, are part of the problems in Nigeria. You can't make such demands. From where will the money come? For 8 whole years, Buhari printed 23 trillion naira. Borrowed, that is by way of means. Buhari borrowed, and the governors, not Buhari, let me not just, Buhari and the other governors borrowed over 26 trillion naira domestic debt. Buhari and the governors borrowed brand new debts, foreign debts of over $30 billion. They sold crude oil, excluding the ones that they diverted. And at the end of the day, Nigeria today is owing, our national debt is almost about 107. Sorry for the interruption. So basically, you produce and you're paid well. Even the good book, the scripture says, no man who is not productive deserves wages. You can't be talking about living wage when you're not producing living, when you're not executing living productivity. And these are facts. Nigeria, for all I care, for most of us who know understand, Nigeria is like any enterprise. Nigeria is an enterprise with stakeholders. We, the citizens, are the shareholders of Nigeria. Those that are elected or whatever, whichever way they found themselves into power, are our representatives. They are our employees. Those they engage to work in the MDAs, including members of the NLC, are our employees. They are responsible for making policies and programs that will guide the productivity, the welfare, the security, and the lives of 270 million people. The workers in Nigeria are not limited to just less than 2 million people in the public service. We have 120 million people in Nigeria who are adult working population, who are entitled to living wages. Over 200 million population of Nigerians in fact, the only population of Nigeria that is aged above 64 years, there are just less than 5 million people in Nigeria that are above 65 years. Over 211 million Nigerians are below the retirement age, so they are part of the active working population. So when we put up this demand, Nigeria is not meant for politicians and the civil servants. If you go and look at our budget performance and our actual budget performance over the last 10 years, you will see a recurring decimal. We will sell our crude oil. We will collect taxes from 217 million people. We will collect customs receivables. And if you look at it clearly, you will discover that we will spend all these monies to take care of the recurrent, the wages and non-wages recurrent expenditures of less than 2 million people, the public servants, the civil servants, and the political office holders. Go and look at our budget. Go and look at our budget. But let us even look at this 2024 budget. 28.5 trillion naira. We are going to be borrowing 9.9 trillion to cover the deficit. The real income that Nigeria will generate based on projections, which we are not even meeting, We projected to produce 1.78 million barrels of crude oil every day. We are doing 1.4 million barrels, short of our target. And who are those responsible? Ask yourself those questions. So basically, if you add all the revenues in Nigeria and look at, you will discover that we are going to be spending everything that we earn, taking care of the wages, non-wages, debt servicing expenditures, the monies printed and borrowed to pay civil servants. Nigeria can be very productive. And when we are very productive and we grow our GDP per capita to that of Singapore, even to that of South Africa, we can begin to talk about minimum wage of 300,000 naira, 500,000 naira, like we have in other climes. In South Africa, minimum wage is 300,000 naira equivalent, or even 320,000 naira, depending on how many shifts you are working. They are paid hourly wages. The South Africans are more productive than us. Go and check the records. Their GDP per capita is $6,750. The average South African productivity to be measured by level of GDP is about 675,000 naira a month. Nigerian GDP per capita 2024 is projected to be just at about $1,160, which simply means on a monthly basis, Nigerians' productivity is only about 160 per capita. It's only about 116,000 naira. That simply means if we are to pay salary to every Nigerian based on our productivity, none of us should be able to earn anything more than 116,000 naira every month. That is our productivity. When Mr. President talked about growing GDP to $1 trillion, it just simply means ramping up activities that will enhance productivity by each and every one of us in the production of goods and services. When we become a productive economy, we would earn more and we will pay living wages. You cannot force an employer to pay you more than what you're producing. We are the employers. The Nigerian public are the employers. Let me tell you, if the citizens of Nigeria actually understand their responsibilities and obligations and not resort to ethno-religious rah-rah-rahness, we should even be the ones demanding that you guys, either you be productive or we lay you off. We cannot be generating all the revenues in Nigeria and we'll be using it to pay people. See, the work of the civil service and those who operate within the public service sphere is to provide policies and programs, ease of doing business, things that will provide opportunities for Nigerians to be put to work, for every one of us to be productive. Those in the security agencies are supposed to provide adequate security in such a way that Nigerians can have 24/7 security cover. Those that are making policies, those in the refineries, are supposed to make sure those refineries work. We spent 16 trillion naira in 8 years, $34 billion, repairing those refineries, doing fair turnaround maintenance program, paying subsidies year on year. People who claim to be working there, we are drawing salaries and allowances of $120 billion every year, refining nothing. If those refineries belong to me as a private individual, if those refineries belong to a company where I have shares as a shareholder, after the first year, I will mobilize other shareholders to sack both the board and management and most of the staff. We will liquidate the place. If those Nigerian refineries are privately owned, they will have been liquidated since 2015 after Buhari started running it down. We should ask the right question. NLC has no right to demand salary of citizens. See, let me tell you, even if we are to even use scientifically based on past performances, you can't even use past performances to measure current realities. We were making more monies in 2010, 2011 Our output was 2.6 million barrels and condensate a day. We weren't even producing enough then. Now we are doing 1.4 million barrels. Over the last 3 years, we squandered we wasted $1.5 billion fixing a refinery that was built in 3 years brand new. Yet we are refining nothing. And people are working there. Every day they will carry placard threatening everybody. You cannot threaten Nigerians any longer. We understand these games. I expect NLC, TUC, and those that work there to be demonstrating every day until those refineries start working. We expect them to hold accountable. EFCC chairman declared that between 2018 to 2020, over 2.9 trillion naira was looted through over-invoicing. We expected NLC and TUC to march to the street, demonstrating, asking for accountability for those that stole that money to be prosecuted. Why are they not doing it? Why are they not doing it? NNPC GMD came on air and gleefully told us 3-4 years ago that Nigeria on a monthly basis lose $1.9 billion worth of crude oil to inefficiencies, to thefts. That is $22 billion down the hole. A country that used to do 2.5 million, 2.8 million barrels a day can no longer do 1.5. And we are who are those responsible for protecting our oil and gas assets and putting in place policies and programs that will ensure that our assets are protected? They are those civil servants and public servants and security agencies. One would have expected NLC to also march on the street to demand for accountability in operations there. See, we can be productive. And if I may want to suggest, the over-bloated public service wages that we have can actually be cut to half by deploying, if we have thinking and creative government across the 3 tiers of government in Nigeria. They should have been thinking about creatively how to set up even mostly agro-based PPPs and redeploy most of these guys that are not productive for Nigeria in the public sector. The public sector in Nigeria used to be very, very productive. The public sector that used to have attract some of the brightest and the most creative minds in Nigeria. Today, somebody becomes governor, and the people start sending lists. Somebody becomes a House of Rep or senator, and the people will be sending lists. Employ my brother, employ. So they just pack people who are relevant and irrelevant and throw them into the MDAs and agencies, and they are there doing nothing. They are there doing nothing. They are there peeling melons. At the end of the month, people want to be paid for what they did not produce. If Nigeria is a company that is running efficiently, like the LNG, like Chevron, like Shell, like Mobil, like even UBA and First Bank, how can you go to the limit to get demand for salary increase when you're not meeting targets? They will fire you. Come on, let's do the right thing. See, based on our productivity as a country, nobody in Nigeria deserves a wage above 160 naira. In fact, in the early 60s, the salaries and pegs of office or political officers were tied to that of the civil service. It was part-timers. They were all part-timers. Today we have made public office. We have made public officers. Public officers have become like a den of robbers, where people just troop in to see what they can grab, steal and loot. It's no longer a place where people bring in their thinking faculty, where people creatively provide solutions to on how productivity can be made in the economy. Go to Cote d'Ivoire, go to Kenya. To ship any commodity out of those countries, 24-48 hours, your container is gone. It's exported. But in Nigeria, all manner of roadblocks from the farm gate to the bad roads, then at the exit point. By the time the criminal, in fact, there was one young man that came to see me in Lagos. The guy is a cocoa exporter. While he was calling me, they were calling him that his container of cocoa that was supposed to be shipped out had been arrested. Why did they arrest him? So encouraging a young man to export, they are trying to discourage him through extortions. We expect the operators, the ministries, the agencies, the departments, the parastatals, the security agencies to provide policies and programs to make ease of doing business easier than it is today, to encourage Nigerians to produce and export. We expect the customs, the immigration, and those at the exit point to, when they see an exporter, they should embrace him and clap and help him to export. But in Nigeria, everybody is just looking for what to grab, what to steal. At the end of the day, after stealing everything, you still want to come and demand for 160, 50,000 naira. From where? Bye bye, Joe.